my daughter heard me talking to the wife once, and I got a text message the next day at work saying that, Dad, please promise me you're not going to kill yourself.
Hello everybody, and welcome back to what is an almost completed podcast studio. We're almost there, but not quite. We just need to do a bit of soundproofing and the electrics, and we'll be pretty much done. But we've made it to episode 30, and I'm so pleased you can join us on this episode. On this episode, I'll be speaking to Kevin Brennan. Kevin is a scaffolder and has worked in the industry for over 30 years. Kevin lost his father a few years ago, and he really struggled with it. In this episode, he explains his journey with that and how it actually led him down a path to contemplate suicide. Thankfully, Kevin reached out and got the help and support that he needed, but he felt like he couldn't talk about it sometimes. And we go on and explain. He goes on and explains all this in the episode. Now, please remember, if you are having these thoughts and you feel like you need a bit of help and support, all the details are in the description below. Please reach out. There is help out there. For whatever it is you're going through, there will be people that are willing to listen to you and want to help you with whatever it is. Now, if you'd let us know in the comments below what you thought about this episode, that would be amazing. And if you'd like to support the channel, you can do that by hitting the like button and subscribing, because that would be phenomenal. We really do appreciate that. And also you can donate to us if you want to buy us a coffee or something like that, so we can go and do a chat, or you can help fund some of the projects that we worked on. But other than that, I really hope you enjoy this episode, and I will speak to you all very soon. Hello everybody, and welcome to another episode of the MYH Podcast. And on today's episode, I'm joined by Kev. Kev and I have been chatting over LinkedIn. He's seen I'd come and done a talk on the Everton project, and he said next time you're down, give us a shout, we'll meet up, and well, that's exactly what we've done. So Kev, how are we? Welcome to the podcast.
Good, thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
So you've been a scaffolder for how long?
33 years, I'd say.
So how long you got left on your apprenticeship?
31.
But I guess you've just done scaffolding all your life then?
Near enough, yeah.
Has it always been the sort of stuff, have you ever done any offshore stuff or?
No. I fancied it at one stage, but
It's not for
never
you.
got round to it.
How long have you worked here at Lang's?
4 years, just this month it was
Right.
4 years.
So from your accent, I'm guessing you're not a local.
No. London originally.
Yeah, whereabouts?
East London, Leytonstone.
Right, okay.
And I moved up here about 22 years ago.
Yeah, don't regret it?
No,
No.
much more friendlier up here.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, when I go and do the talks down in London, and like a lot of the site staff that I talk with, I'll go around site and I'll just let on to everybody, "You all right, mate, how you doing?" All like that.
Yeah.
Like, you're so northern, because you're talking to everybody, everybody's head down, so focused on getting the job done. But, whereas, like you say, everybody's more friendly up here.
Yeah,
Have the
definitely.
crack. And have you always worked on bigger sites, or have you ever done like domestic stuff?
It's generally always been bigger sites. Did some of my own work. That was mainly in the evenings though.
Yeah. Now you've moved on to these
It's always
type of
been
things.
a site, yeah.
Got no problem with it being Everton?
No.
I worked on Man City's ground, and we used to have a nightmare from the lads putting United shirts on.
Yeah.
So forever that.
Oh, well, I'm a West Ham fan, so.
Oh, you get on well with Lee, who we go and do a lot of work with. He's a West Ham he's from Woolwich, or he lives in France. But when he's not in France, his family's from Woolwich. He's always banging on about West Ham to me, so I'll pass him over to you. You can chat to him about West Ham till the cows come home.
Yeah, there's not usually a lot to shout about. But
Yeah, I don't think there is. Mind you, Moyes is doing all right for him.
yeah.
He seems to settle.
Mind you, they want him out now as well, so.
Yeah. Well, this is it. No matter what, you can have a great run of 2 years and then have 6 weeks of a bit of poo, and that's it. Everybody wants to get rid of you. But I think you reached out to us over LinkedIn because you've had your own journey with mental health along the years, haven't you?
Yeah, I certainly have.
Do you want to tell us about that as much as you're comfortable talking about?
It started off 5 years ago.
Okay.
With the death of my father.
Right.
It was, at the beginning, it was fine. I was organising everything at the funeral, and then that's when it all started to kick in then.
Yeah.
I started to feel a lot of anxiety, which I'd never done before. And then the depression set in, and I couldn't it got worse and worse. And then come the feelings of not wanting to be here no more. And I just didn't care. My safety went downhill. I wasn't bothered anymore. I was driving erratically.
Not looking after yourself?
No, I wasn't bothered whatsoever. The only good thing I never done was turn to drink.
Yeah.
I think that was a saving grace, but I just couldn't be bothered.
Had you previous to that ever had spates of feeling like that, or was this all new?
I honestly thought it was in the mind. Well, it is.
Yeah.
It is to a degree, but well, no, it's not to a degree. It is your mind, but I thought it was something you could shrug off. I didn't understand the extent of it.
Never talked to anybody?
No.
Did you ever feel like you wanted to, but you just couldn't?
No. Just happy. I think naively, I kind of thought depression didn't really exist.
Yeah, I get that.
But then when something affects you and it hits you, you think, wow.
Yeah. You can just come out of nowhere, can't you?
Yeah. So yeah, it just seemed to, year after year, it just continued. It wasn't getting any easier. I would look at people and think, how are you coping with your death that you've suffered, and you're not feeling like me? And then somebody said, you don't know what people are doing behind closed doors.
Yeah.
You put on a brave face at work. You still have a laugh with the lads. But then when I got out of work, it was like I could be myself again then.
Yeah.
I could be sad.
Yeah.
I could, it was like I was putting on a brave face for everyone.
Yeah.
And then it just got to a point where I was on a bridge at work, and I thought, I can't do this on my own anymore. I didn't want to speak to my wife or my family because I felt like I was being a burden to someone. So I reached out to Laing O'Rourke.
Right.
And I did have counselling beforehand from my doctors, but I would sit there every Thursday evening and think,
not getting
what's
anything
going
out of
on?
this, yeah.
What is he talking about? I reached out to Lang's. Immediately, they went into action. I spoke to someone at Care First, who we deal with.
Yeah.
And they put the ball in motion. And I got counselling sessions then from Care First. I had 15 counselling sessions.
Right, okay.
Which we were in COVID then.
Right, okay.
So it was over the phone.
Right.
Telephone, video call.
Yeah.
And that was really good help from Care First.
When you started the counselling, was it not so the first one you had obviously didn't resonate with you?
No.
And I think a lot of people, right, they'll get assigned a counsellor and they think, like when you go to the doctors, you think, well, they're the professional, that's what they're there to be paid, that's their opinion is what I should know or I should accept. But it's not always the case with counselling, is it? If that individual doesn't resonate with you, it's not good for your time and it's not good for their time either. And I think people get stuck thinking, well, I'm going to go to this counsellor for years and years and years and years, and I feel like I'm getting nowhere. If that counsellor's not turning around and saying, look, I don't feel like I'm giving you any benefit. And in the same breath, I think people don't want to say it to them because they don't want to offend them.
Because it was a group therapy as well.
Right, okay.
So it was almost like doing a site induction every day.
Yeah.
You're just repeating the same thing to a big class of people.
And then you obviously reached out to work, and they got you the help and support, and it started to make that difference. Yeah,
it was unbelievable, the difference it made.
Yeah.
From the first session.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you started opening up and talking, was it difficult to talk about?
No. I found it easy with the lady that I was with.
That's good.
I found it really easy. And she was, talking about coping mechanisms and dealing with things. And one of the things we touched on, I said, I've got a photo of my dad on the television stand. I said, I've got a candle I light every evening. I said, I buy a bunch of flowers every week. And I was working away in Bicester, down in Oxford at the time. And she said, oh, right. She said, have you got a picture in your hotel room of your dad? I said, no. Oh. Have you got one in your car? I said, no. And she said, oh. She said, why do you feel you need to sit looking at one in your house? And I thought,
Yeah.
She said, I'm not saying take it down. She said, move it. Move it somewhere else. So I did.
Yeah.
And I was watching the telly again, not sitting looking at the picture of my dad.
Yeah.
It was little things like that.
Yeah.
You would think, hang on.
Yeah.
I haven't.
The pennies just dropped.
Yeah. Why am I managing all week, five nights of the week and days? I'm going home on a Friday evening, going back to Oxford on a Sunday afternoon. And I'm managing without photos and everything.
Yeah.
And it was little things like that every week, and little goals that we had.
Yeah.
And it was things like, when you think of a bad thing, think of a good thing afterwards.
Yeah.
And it was unbelievable.
This is it. As much as the bad thoughts are in your mind and can play in your mind, if you are changing that round, you can put those good thoughts in there.
Yeah.
And get rid of the bad thoughts, and then hopefully the more you start doing that, because positive thoughts bring on positive actions, and if you do positive things in your life, it starts to push all those negative feelings away.
Yeah, and I ended up being able to tell stories now.
Yeah.
About my dad and the laughs we had and everything. And when I do go back, obviously I still go back and think of him. And I mean, even recently, I've just a split second in my mind thought, I'd ring my dad.
Yeah.
And then realise, he's gone.
I do exactly the same. So my mum died in September last year, and like if I achieve something or one of the kids do something or I wanted to tell her something, I'll give my mum a ring. I'm like, I can't.
And then you realise.
Yeah, because like my mum and dad, they live at the top of North Yorkshire, and I live over in Manchester, or Macclesfield I live. And I never spoke to them every day. Yeah. And I didn't go round to their house or anything like that. Even when they lived over in Manchester way, we moved further away from them, so I didn't see them every day. And I'm still in that stage now of thinking, I'll ring my dad, I'll ring my mum, or whatever, and I'm like, I can't.
Yeah.
Then you do get that jolt of think, actually she's no longer here.
Yeah.
And then I used to, for a while, I was like, I'd get upset over it. Yeah. Whereas now, not that I've stopped caring, but I'm not upset about it. Yeah. I'm now starting to move forward with my life without my mum in it. Yeah. And it is difficult at times, but sometimes at the same time, exactly like you were saying, you can tell stories now. Yeah. I can think about my mum and not think sad things of the time when it was coming to an end in hospital. Yeah. I think the good thing with mum, well, I don't know, is it a good thing or not? It's quite quick with my mum. Yeah. So there wasn't a long illness or anything like that. But even still, it's still difficult to deal with at the time. But because
I do the work I do now, and I'm in a good place, and I'm surrounded by supportive people, and I have really good conversations with people like yourself. I think that enables me to deal with when I have those difficult scenarios, and when I start to let the negative thoughts come in, I can push them out and start thinking of the good things, like when we first started having kids and she met her grandkids for the first time, and moving house and all the stuff we used to do, and all going out, like even as a kid going out with her and doing days out and trips like that. Those are the thoughts that are coming into my head now, rather than the last moments of seeing her in hospital.
See, a big thing with mine was he, two of his sisters come over from Ireland during the week to see him. And then on the Friday, his brother and my cousin were coming over. So I went to London as well to see my younger one. And my mum said, oh, he'll think he's dying with everyone coming to visit him. This was on the Friday. And then Saturday morning, 6:30, we got a phone call to say, you need to come to the hospital. He's got about an hour left.
Goodness me.
So we went in, and I was saying to him, you know, let go now. You're in pain, you're suffering. Sorry, they said about palliative care, we need to, you know, I said, I said, Mum, it's the best thing. And I was saying to him, let yourself go, stop being in pain. But then when he did go, I blamed myself. I said, I shouldn't have said put him on palliative care, you know, do something. But there was nothing. He was drowning. He was drowning in his own medicine, his own bodily fluids, everything. That took a long time to realise. And it was only through that counselling that I thought, no, I wasn't to blame. And, you know, I was thinking he's listening to me and thinking, you know, I don't want him here. And, you know, that played a big part of it. But it was the counselling and talking to people within Laing O'Rourke that made me realise, no, you did the right thing. You helped him come out of pain by agreeing to the palliative care. And, so that was a big thing. But
then obviously after his death, did you try and push everything down and ignore it all?
No, I think, as I say, when I organised the funeral, and it was a long wait over Christmas. He died the 18th of December, and he wasn't buried to the 5th of January.
Especially if he's coming from an Irish background, they're in the days, aren't they?
2 days, and then then I had to start on the antidepressants and everything then, which I felt ashamed of at one stage. I thought, a big man like me, why am I taking tablets? And there was all emotions like that. And then you realise it's not wrong to take tablets. It's not wrong to do anything to cope.
Because I think a lot of people get wrapped up in the idea that if you're taking tablets, it's weak. If you've got a headache, you take a paracetamol. You break your leg, you go and receive treatment for that broken leg, which may be painkillers or something along the line. The same with counselling. You go and break your leg, you'll have your leg in cast for so long, and then you go and have however many weeks of physiotherapy afterwards. It's exactly the same thing. And you're doing whatever's best for you. And if Jeff out on site takes a piss for whatever reason, it's his problem, not yours. And that it can be very difficult to get over that.
Because I remember somebody saying to me, "Oh, just man up, you'll be all right." And I thought, it's not like that. But so the way Laing O'Rourke helped me made me want to help other people. So reason to become a mental health champion. I think a lot more of the lads talk to each other now than I did a video last year for Laing O'Rourke. I don't know whether you've seen it or not.
No, I've not seen it yet, no.
That was played everywhere. That was put out in Australia and then throughout the company. A lot of good feedback from that, from the lads. I just want to give back now for the help I received. I want somebody else. The first thing I wanted to do was to make sure the lads knew that your job's not in jeopardy or anything.
Yeah.
You're not going to be thought, you know, we'll have to get rid of him. In that case, it's far from it, the help that Lang's offer you. So I wanted that to get across to them. If there was people out there suffering like me, they knew the help was there.
Yeah, because that can stop a lot of people reaching out for help and support.
The first time I spoke of it, down in Oxford, 2 people come forward. That just made it so worthwhile.
Yeah.
And then when they come here and actually laid my story down onto video and it went out, everyone's seen it. It was a great response. I don't know the figures of people that's been for help, that have spoke up, but there is people.
Yeah, definitely. They now know because of you stepping forward that they can do that.
Yeah, because I've put my story out there, they know. They don't have to worry. Your job's not in jeopardy.
Yeah.
There's help. So that just made it all worthwhile.
Once you started opening up and talking about everything and
it got better.
Yeah.
The more you talk, the more I think it got, you know.
Did you get any shit off the lads out on site?
No, none whatsoever.
That's good.
Only just that one fella who was a mate. So, you know, man up.
I think banter can be pretty fierce out on site, can't it? And I think we need it. I think. The people that work within construction have got a certain personality that fits to that.
Yeah.
And I was speaking to one guy who was telling the story, and he says he had a bit of time off. He went back to work, and the lads were going to the coffee shop, and they're going to the canteen to get something. I said, "I'm going to get a coffee. Do you want anything?" They were saying what they wanted, and then they turned around to the lad that had been off and went, "Do you want me to get you a depresso instead of an espresso?" And it's breaking the ice with that banter. And he was like, "Fuck off, will you?" But yeah, I'll have one. Yeah. And he says,
but he probably knew that they've got his back.
Yeah, they knew it had come from a good place. And it's definitely, the opinions are definitely changing now. And there is still the odd person that is stuck in the old mentality of thinking that the man up side of things. But if you think about it, what's more manly than standing up and saying, "Look, I'm struggling with this. I need a bit of help. Can you help me? Or do you know anybody that can help me?" And if like a couple of people have said to me, because I used to run sites, I used to be, although I was a bricklayer for many years, I ended up being a project manager on sites. And when I go and give the talks that I give out on site, one of the project directors from a site up in Yorkshire turned around to me and said, "How can you stand there and talk about vulnerability?" And he kept using the word weakness, and then go off and work on building sites again, because still go and lay bricks and stuff. I'm like, is that not a sign of strength?
Yeah.
If I can stand here and show vulnerability in front of all my peers, but then still go out and do my job and carry on with what I'm doing, does that not show that I'm showing strength? And he's like, I suppose I never thought about it that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, everyone's seen the video of me saying about how many times I wanted to commit suicide, and then afterwards, you know, I wasn't bothered that they knew. But thinking back, the lives that I could have destroyed doing it, it's just unreal.
Yeah.
You know, I could have caused an accident.
Yeah.
It's someone else's life and their family. It's my family, my kids. And even the counsellor said, "Well, you can live on. Your dad can live on in you."
Yeah.
And so it was, and my daughter heard me talking to the wife once, and I got a text message the next day at work saying that, Dad, please promise me you're not going to kill yourself." And I thought, wow, that's heavy stuff.
Yeah.
So thankfully I got through that stage of...
Was that the wake-up call that you needed?
Yeah, well, it was one of them, yeah. And thinking, well, yeah, I can live. My dad can live on in me.
Yeah.
I can be a good father to my kids, what I should be doing, like he was to me.
Yeah.
not having them worrying and scared and they're going to lose their dad.
Yeah.
Seeing me crying in the evenings and not eating. And so, yeah, it was a rough journey.
But you've come out the other side.
But come out of it. And honestly, it's down to the office manager that we had in Oxford. I won't mention her name. She was fantastic. Everyone here as well, Electra and everyone have been. Our wellbeing manager, Jill, and everyone's been fantastic.
Yeah.
And it was, I dread to think if I didn't ask for help, what state I would be in or if I'd still be here.
This is it, because as a scaffolder, you're already at the highest risk anyway.
Yeah.
And you could have that lapse of concentration, clip onto the wrong thing, lean out.
Yeah.
That's it. Or
and it just goes to show talking is...
It's powerful stuff.
It is powerful. And it is a big, big thing to recovery. So that's why we become champions here, mental health champions. So anybody wants to help me or somebody else, we're here to offer it.
And it's phenomenal to hear. And you can be very proud of everything you've, not only what you're doing now, but the journey that you've gone on to get to this point. And I know full well that your dad will be up there watching. I'm very, very proud of you.
I hope so, yeah, thank you. And because somebody said to me as well, how can you be a mental health champion if you've had... I said, well, who better to know what somebody's going through?
I've been there.
I've been there myself. I've had that hard journey. And it's a hard thing to say, but it's a joy coming to work.
Yeah. Because
the lads here, you know, it's a good gang of lads.
Yeah.
And they're there if you want them. A few close ones, it's every morning it's the same thing. You know, hugs and...
Yeah, like check in with each other.
Checking in all the time, yeah.
Because there's no reason why we can't do that. And it's like the conversations you have with them, it's not, how's your mental health today? Yeah. It's like, what did you have to eat last night? And have you tried eating this? It's just conversations and starting the conversation, and then it might lead somewhere and go to wherever.
Yeah.
Before you know it, 10, 15 minutes ago, and you've got all your kit on and you're ready to go out on the park.
Yeah.
And that is a check-in, and people don't sometimes realise that, I don't think. And it's those conversations that we have when we're out at work as well. Yeah. I think those off-eye conversations when you're, I don't know, putting something up here and your mate's there working away, putting brick guards on or whatever it is, you can have that conversation of saying, you ever had this go on with you, and what do you think about this? And this is not quite right, or I don't know how I'm going to pay that bill, and I need to, my pension, I need to start thinking about a pension and all that sort of
stuff. Some of our conversations they've changed.
Yeah.
I mean, we still have the stupid ones like, why don't ants burn their feet on light bulbs? Who would win a fight between a bear and a lion? And, But then it turns then.
Yeah.
This is heavy stuff.
Yeah.
And then it goes back to...
Yeah, exactly that.
Something ridiculous.
Yeah. Like the lads I used to work with, I've had conversations with them and they're like, I can't believe I just told you that.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you feel better for it? And they're like, yeah, you know what I do? Right, dickhead, back to work. And it's exactly that. It doesn't have to be in a clinical environment, although this room feels very clinical because it's white and clean everywhere, but it can be the chats in the vans to and from work.
Well, like you said, it's like a police interview room.
Yeah, it is.
So I don't know how you know that.
Well, it's from what it's the conversations I've had with other guys out at the
I've seen it on the cellar.
They told me about it.
Yeah.
But this is it. It is quite literally just having the chat, and that can be the difference in somebody's day, because you never know. Like you said, you used to put this face on.
Yeah.
That Kev's all right at work, but as soon as his boots come off and he walks through his front door.
Yeah, it's like, I can be back to being miserable.
It's exhausting as well.
Yeah.
Putting that
persona. It's just talk. You're being a man by Rob, I need help.
Yeah.
That's manning up. That's, you know, not hiding it and talk to someone.
Exactly.
And me talking to someone could trigger something in them that is without even knowing, without them saying it.
This is it. And
so
like, you could, like the check-ins that you do with your mates, one of them could be saying, "No, I didn't eat anything for dinner last night. Why is he not getting his hair cut? Why is he not looking after himself?" These little subtle changes that you see in people when you are checking in with them and things like that, we've noticed that you're not quite looking after yourself. What's going on?
And the suicide deaths in construction is phenomenal. Yeah. It's unbelievable. It's disgraceful.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Why it's at that level?
Because it's not the mental ill health that is killing people within this industry. It's the stigma.
Yeah.
Because people are scared to talk about it. People don't want to start opening up because they don't want to feel victimised. They don't want people to say, "Shut up and get on with it. What have you got to worry about? You've got X, Y, and Z going on in your world and you're worried about that." Well, like you said before, some people cope differently to how you might cope, and how you might cope might be different to how they cope, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And this is it. But it looks like Lang's are really pushing forward with all the work that our lecturers doing and all the work that, all the great stuff that you've had over the years. They are really trying to change the game, and it's great to see.
Yeah, it is.
And this is the only way that we're going to get those figures down, is from people engaging, talking. It's definitely got to come from leaders down, cascaded down throughout.
Because I think we're even touching on mental health in induction now.
Yeah, which is good,
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
So I suggested I think it was already in place, but I said, why is something not mentioned in induction to let people know from the offset there's help.
Yeah. It's good, and especially with all this immersive stuff that they've got going on, it's a different class, this stuff. I've never seen anything like it.
It's unreal.
I beat a lecturer on the ball game anyway.
But I mean, Laings have even offered you now 6 months paid leave,
right,
for people now.
That's good.
So they're pushing boundaries on everything.
Yeah.
And that's full pay.
Yeah. Does that put you at ease as well? More likely to...
If I was young enough.
Yeah.
I'd be trying to have kids all the time. Get 6 months paid leave.
Yeah.
But, it's another thing that's offered to people.
This is it. I think people think working in the construction industry, it's not like working in other industries. And they think it's all rough and tough, which it is. There's no denying it is like that. But then at the same time, we can all have benefits, and you can get healthcare, and you can get this, and you can get that. It's a great industry to work in. Yeah. And I think people's opinion needs to change a bit, because, I mean, we could sit here all day and talk about the labour shortage, because there's no apprentices that want to come into the industry. No, especially not into my game. No. Because you're out in all weathers. Yeah. It's a tough game. You pick wintertime, you're picking up freezing wet tubes. Yeah. Mauling 21-foot tubes up, and you might be 6 or 7 lifts up, and you're passing them up on the way up. It's not for the faint hearted. And then in the winter, you're banging them to separate them because they're froze together. Yeah. Exactly that. And as you're passing them, it's all the water's running down down there. It's little things like that can eat away at you as well. I mean, I'm only 18. Look at me. It ages you. Paper round was uphill in the snow every single day. Yeah. But, no, it is. And I mean, what you're doing it's absolutely fantastic. You only have to look at LinkedIn and you're in Scotland or you're in London. Yeah. All over the show and getting about a bit, and I appreciate that. Yeah, and and the replies that are coming on Facebook and on LinkedIn. Yeah. And the people are throwing bouquets at you all the time. Yeah. You're doing a fantastic job. Well, thank you, I appreciate that. So we just need more people like you. Well, there's people like you too. Everybody's doing everything. Yeah. But we're getting there. We're getting there slowly. We're making a difference. Small footsteps, but at least we're getting there. Yeah, it's progression. Yeah. Still got a long way to go. I think like when I first started back in 2000, I remember you used to go in the cabins and you just see feet shuffling around because everybody's in there smoking. It was just a sea of smoke and page 3 stuff on the walls. And then the industry were like, I think we need to pull ourselves forward a bit. Yeah. And I think they're doing that at the minute with well-being now as well.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's like when we go out in the van and stuff like that, people think, oh, another mental health talk. When we do the talk, like, oh, actually, it's a bit more than that. Yeah. It's more than just depression and anxiety. There's far more to it. There's a bigger spectrum to it. Yeah. And
I mean, I probably would have thought like that myself.
Yeah.
Until it actually happened.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you sit back and think, wow.
Yeah.
This could be happening to anyone. And another good thing I thought of is, you know, when you're on site and you say hello to someone, and you think, wow, what have I done?
Yeah.
You know, and the anxiety was getting you, think, well, you know, he spoke to me yesterday.
Yeah.
And it'd be eating away at you. And then said, that person could be going through what you're going through.
Yeah.
And they're having a bad day.
Yeah.
And, you know, everything's blocked out.
Yeah.
And you think, wow, yeah, it is that. And it turns out they haven't ignored you.
Yeah,
you know, they have got something going on, or they generally just didn't hear you.
This is it.
You've got to think about things like that.
People like anger as well. Yeah. A lot of people snapping and chitty, and then you can retaliate and be the same, and you're at loggerheads with stuff. But if you take a step back and think, right, why have they reacted like that? Yeah. We haven't done anything that wrong. No. And they're reacting like that. Maybe there's other things at play here.
Yeah, I mean, about 30 years ago, we was out on a Wednesday night, and a Thursday night, our mate jumped off a car park roof. No one had a clue. Yeah. I mean, we was all out laughing and joking.
Sorry to hear that.
And we got a call then Thursday. He went to a car park, up to the top, straight off. Still to this day, no one's got a clue why.
This is it. That just shows the impact 30 years later.
Yeah.
People are still wondering.
Yeah.
That ripple effect is still rippling away.
Yeah.
I think for every suicide that there is, I think it affects 130 people.
That's a lot of people.
I think that there's just been figures out through Office of National Statistics, I think it was 509 construction workers in 2022 took their own life. So that's 130 times 509. Yeah. It's a huge number. Huge number.
And which is more than deaths at work.
Yeah.
Through accidents.
I think in 2021 it was 115, I think.
Yeah.
I'll have to double check, but I'm pretty sure it was around about 115. I think the average is about 45 to 55, it sort of hovers around that.
See, and you've got a big drive on safety. Put your glasses on, do this, barrier this off, do it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's all the time. But the suicides are going up and up and up. And it's not getting the same sort of, well, now it is.
It is now.
It's getting that sort of recognition.
Can you imagine there was 509 deaths on site by falling off scaffolding or struck by plant or whatever it may be?
You wouldn't be able to move.
No. But I think a lot of these deaths are happening off-site, away from site, out of site hours. There's no real incentive for doing it, but I think it is starting to happen inside. You up on the scaffolding when you were at your lowest point, you were however 100 foot up in the air, 80 foot up in the air, you could have made that choice to jump off. And if that happens on a site...
It was scary how close it was. But I think at the back of my mind, it was the likes of the kids and my wife, thinking I'm going to lose them. Yeah. That was always making me chicken out of it.
Yeah.
So it's frightening to think of.
Yeah, it is. But the important thing is you're still here. You're still turning up.
Yeah.
Putting your high vis on. Going out on the park every day. Hanging off the edge of buildings like you were saying before.
Yeah. There's plenty of people worse off.
But I think that's a good place to end it there.
Yeah.
No, thank you very much, Kev,
Thanks
for coming
very
on
much.
and talking.
It's been an absolute pleasure.
No, it's I appreciate all the support you give me on LinkedIn and stuff like that. it's always nice to get a message off you when it pops up. I wonder what Kev's up to today. Yeah, so thank you very much for that. And thank you for all the hard work that you do now as well. It's getting out there.
It's a pleasure. Pleasure to be doing it.
And sharing your story as well too. I know how hard it is.
You'll have to try and watch it.
Yes, I'll get a lecturer to email it over to us. I'll give it a watch.
Yeah.
And I'll try and see if I can put clips of it in this as well.
Yeah.
So people can see it if they're all right with that. But other than that, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Coming on.
Thanks very much.
Thank you very much to everybody for watching this episode. If there's anything in this episode that has affected you, please reach out. All the contact details will be in the description below. And if you want us to talk about anything on another episode, please let us know again below in the comments below. For those of you who don't know, we've actually started a subscription service on Spotify, so you get to see a bit behind the scenes stuff. So I've got another camera at the back over there recording a bit of a different view and a bit of other stuff that we do about setting up and taking down and all the talking that we do afterwards and before we start. Other than that, thank you very much for listening, and I will see you in the next one. There you go.
Brilliant.
Well done, mate.
Thanks very much.
That was perfect.
If you need any more doing,
that was really, really, really